What's going on, Illumineers, and welcome back to the Madhouse. And what a weekend of Lorcana. What a month of Lorcana we're going to have. This video is all about the SSG, the Southside Gaming 10K event. We're going to talk about the meta breakdown, and then we're going to go over the deck list. But before we get there, we have a couple things. We have a crazy month of Lorcana ahead of us, all right? We had the 10 case put on by Southside Gaming. Southside Gaming also announced that on April 5th, they're going to announce it's either going to be the next big event for them or they're going to announce the next big event for them. I should have double checked, but April 5th, big deal for Southside Gaming. So definitely go to their Discord. They put on this event, they put on the last 10K and the last 5K. Check out Southside Gaming. Their stuff is going to be in the description. Their Discords, the South Florida local network Discord will be down there. Follow them on their social media pages. Follow them everywhere. They are putting Lorcana on the scene in a major way. But speaking of tournaments, this upcoming weekend, we still have the Hunter Burton Memorial Gaming to Prevent Suicide event going on. That's going to be streamed by 20 Lore. A bunch of us sponsored a lot of the prizes. You know, we got some really big sponsors down there, and then some baby sponsors like, like me. But a bunch of us threw some great prizes out there. So I can't wait to see you guys win them. There's amazing mats. There's a great, it's just a great cause overall. It's a really great cause. There's going to be a lot of great players out there. It's put together really well. So definitely check that out. And then the next month, we have the CCS 8K, but more importantly, we have the Safari Zone collectibles. This is my store. So I will be casting it with some buddies, and it's just going to be a really great time. It's the first big Lorcana event in Delaware, and it's only going to get bigger. So if you're in this area, if you're not going to the CCS 8K, check it out. The Glimineers are going to be up here, with a bunch of their members of their team. It's just going to be a really awesome event. But let's get into what we're here for. And first, let's talk meta breakdown. Okay, so we have a meta breakdown. I don't know what you guys were expecting. I knew we'd see a lot of blue steel. I knew we see a lot of red blue. I did not expect this many. Really wild, right? So this is out of everyone that showed up. I believe there were 138 people that played in the end. I may be off by numbers here and there, but 34 sapphire steel, 34 sapphire. That's Bucky numbers. And then we look at ruby sapphire. We got 33. But when we look that's this kind of breakdown, I don't know if we've seen numbers like this for a really long time where there's two decks that are just so evenly split. And then that was wild. And then Amethyst Steel 27. Amethyst Steel though had one of the worst conversion rates going into Top Cut. Not 0%, but of decks that made Top Cut, really bad conversion rate with only one making top 8. And then we see the other ones, even Steel Song or just Amber Steel. We only saw 2 that were on stream, so we only know of 2 that were Steel Song. I'm sure if we looked at Ink decks further, we could find the other list, but none making Top Cut though. So, but you see a lot of everything. We even saw 3 Ruby Steel. Unfortunately, none of them made Top Cut. It's hard to challenge into a red-blue meta when they don't play characters for you to challenge into. So now cards like Mushu and Calhoun, they're not gaining you all that extra lore. So it's just not its time to shine. It could be, maybe. We just need some more fine-tuning. It's a new deck, right? So it needs fine-tuning. But yeah, look at those numbers, 34, 33, and 27. And then Amethyst Ruby, so red-purple, 11. We almost saw Terrace make Top Cut. It was close. I believe he was close, but he ended up losing the match he needed to win to make it, and to Freddy, I think, actually, on Amber Steel. So I know he was playing red purple, or at least I assume he was playing red purple. So, but unfortunately, none of them made Top Cut either. But let's get into it. Before we have lists, though, my favorite part of my videos, Disney trivia. All right, this one may be really surprising to you guys if you don't know kind of just a lot of random Disney trivia. So how many Disney movies did Robin Williams play in? All right. How many Disney movies did Robin Williams play in? And this one might really surprise you if you don't know a lot of the more intricate stuff of Disney. So let me know. Put it down in the comments. Again, the answer will be at the end of the video. So put it down in the comments now. And then also, if you have a Disney piece of Disney trivia, put that down in the comments. Maybe it'll be featured in the next video. Let's move into the deck list though. First and foremost, congratulations, Jeremy. He is part of Zan's team. They do the podcast together and they went and almost ran the same exact list. Jeremy, though, taking first with his, and we've already seen it kind of running through a lot of the discords. Because of this list, we've seen Oswald jump from $5 to $35 now. Scrooge McDuck jump from like 20 to 25, 30. And then we got this Tammy Toa that even non-foil is like 55 right now, I think. So it's, this list is just doing it's the meta list right now, right? It won the first big major tournament, and this is what it is you have to beat. With that being said, when we look at it, it does have some glaring weaknesses in my opinion. They Jeremy did an interview at the end of it where he talked about we don't need Oswald. Oswald is just really helpful. There's no denying that using Oswald to cheat out a Great Stone Dragon, a Fishbone Quill, a Maurice's Workshop, or even a Lucky Dime, which we did see in the finals match. There's no denying that high roll is just really good, like really, really good. But Jeremy did say that Oswald's not needed for the deck. That interests me because when I think about the games that just were lost, there was no Oswald on two, and the games that just ran way too long where we saw draws, we never saw Oswald triggers. There was one game that was on stream, I think it was Zan versus Mark, and they drew. And the game that I think he lost was he never got an Oswald trigger. Oswald went down on two, and then they brawled it. And because there was no Oswald, like he lost that match. So I don't know. He said Oswald's not needed, but at the same time, of the games we've seen on stream when there was no Oswald, things were rough. So with that being said, it's still just a really good high roll. It's one of the it reminds me of Flynn in Red Purple. They didn't need Flynn to win the match, but Flynn was really, really, really helpful with winning the matches. Another other things to note, we're running that super OP bell where you can kind of just cheat bell down on one, and then you have all these songs to be able to control the board. So Tipo for ramp, you'll see, yeah, and so Tipo for ramp, Great Stone Dragon, just more ramp, another item. Shield of Arendelle is just kind of, you can give resist +1 to something, maybe it survives another turn, but it's another one cost item. This could easily be like, I think there's a can like fire the cannons maybe that you give something challenger +2. It could be any one cost item really. You take your pick, right? So Scrooge McDuck, just we saw the power of it yesterday. There's something really good about cheating out a 4-4-1 that lets you draw a card, right? Because majority of the time you're probably going to draw a card when you're looking at the top 4 cards of your deck. Look how often Ariel hits when song decks are running less item or less songs than you're running items. So look at it that way. Like that's a really good way to look at it. So Scrooge McDuck just works really well in any kind of item deck that you're seeing here. We saw Tamatoa. It's just a beast of a card. You being able to return those items and draw more cards is just incredibly busted, incredibly good. I think the power of this deck, it's only possible because of Bell. Like Bell, Tamatoa is great. Tamatoa allows you to do so much. Do not get me wrong. Tamatoa is a major part of the success of this card or this deck. But if Blue Steel didn't have Bell, I think they'd run into the same issue when they were trying to run Blue Steel items last set, where they just lost the early game. But Bell, because of these 8 songs right here, her being a 3/3, being able to challenge into things, it lets them just control the board really well. And then on top of Hiram's, on top of Tamatoa, we saw Maurice's Workshop just put in so much work yesterday. That is just amazing. You lose your items, you play Tamatoa to get 2 back. If you have a Maurice's Workshop down, even 1, that Popsicle's drawing you 4 cards. Like it's so good. The deck combos really well. A couple things to watch out for though. Lots of sequencing, okay? Lots of sequencing, lots of opportunities to like accidentally put things in the wrong place, watch your opponents, watch yourself, And then this deck is not a fast deck, okay? There's so many things going on that if you took this to like set champs or a tournament that's best of 3, there's a good chance you miss top cut because you end up drawing most of your matches because maybe you play it too slow, like whatever it may be. We saw a lot of draws yesterday. Zan even drawing one of his red blue matches. So it's just something to keep in mind. The deck, though, really strong. It does what it does really well. We'll see how things develop now that it's not a surprise to people. And I think that was a big component of why it did so well yesterday. Is it just surprised a lot of people. But that's enough on this. Let's move on to second place. We had Jonathan. Jonathan is just he's got some second place curse when it comes to these SSG events. He took second at the 10K, losing to my boy Freddie on Amber Steel. He took second for the 10Ks. Maybe he'll change his luck when it comes to this next big SSG event. But looking at his list, really special. It's kind of a really neat list. It's going a very different direction than what we see in other people playing in red blue, what we've seen in the past. Capitalizing, of course, on the baby Tamatoa, but also running the bell. That bell just being a 7/7 quest for 3. You can shift it out on 7. So it's not going to come down fast by any stretch of the imagination, but she does a lot. She trades into Cinderella, like her ability. Whenever this card quests, you may put up to 3 items, and then you gain 1 lore for each item. So a little bit of anti synergy there, right? Because that once you put them on the bottom of your deck, it no longer works with Tamatoa. So that can be a little bit of an anti synergy, but it still works. Like you're still getting some easy lore from that. Belle is still questing for 3, and it's a May option, so you don't have to do it. You can just play her, you can start questing, and that's that. And then we can't forget about her other ability there that is a little hard to read. For each something in your discard, for each item card in your discard, you may pay 1 to play this character. I don't know. It makes the shift ability cost less for each item. So you can cheat Bell out. I should have read that. Like these set 7 cards, I should have been more prepared. But to be prepared, speaking of that, we still have some board removal. We still have lots of board removal. He's running the 4 sapphire coils. So we saw the power of that yesterday. Just multiple sapphire coils using baby Sizus to take out Tamatoas, brawls taking out Tamatoas, like lots of power there. And then we saw an incredible like turn, what was it? Turn 2, I think, where we saw Bell on turn 1, turn 2, no, he played unconventional tool on turn 1, and then turn 2, he used Bell to banish unconventional tool. And then because he banished unconventional tool, he was able to play Fishbone Quill on turn 2 and then ink a card. I think that's how it went. And like that was incredible. That was so incredible to see. Like there was so much power in that turn in what he did there. And to be able to get the Fishbone Quill down so early is really cool. Now you have your turn 3, your turn 4, you could run something like Scrooge to search for something like maybe, he doesn't run how far I'll go, but you could get that how far I'll go on turn 4, Grammatala on turn 4. Although you probably don't need Grammatala anymore now that you have Scrooge. Like I think they're very different. Scrooge looking for an item, Grammatala looking for anything, but just a lot of options there. That was really neat to see on stream. And of course, running the 3 Maurice's workshops as well, just really powerful. And I think hideaways, we're going to see a lot of decks running more than 1 at this point because Tamatoa is just able to bring back those items. So hideaway, even getting rid of a Maurice's workshop is really powerful. Best case scenario, their Oswald cheats out a lucky dime. Like maybe now you hide away their lucky dime and they're down a lucky dime. So that could be really powerful as well. Just so a good deck, we saw wish we could have seen Bell in action, but just never an opportunity yesterday on stream. But it was a really fun finals to watch. Jonathan's always a fun person to watch on stream, like his facial reactions and everything. He's just always having a good time, and I really respect that. So make sure you check that. The finals it will be in the description if you guys want to check that out. But moving on, we have Zan's list. We've already talked about this a lot. The only thing that I will mention is he's changed. The only thing different about Zan and Jeremy's list is Zan opted to have more of and early game potential. So he sacrificed some of his late game to have an early game in the fact that he got rid of one Maurice's workshop for one Tipo. So Jeremy was on 2 and 3, and Zan went 3 and 2. And I do like that. I think I mean, Jeremy won, right? But at the same time, they played each other before Top Cut, and I don't like Zan did beat Jeremy in that one. So I mean, it's one of those things where Tipo helps in case you don't high roll Oswald. Like in that, I think that's really powerful as well. It's another inkable as well versus another uninkable in Jeremy's list. So it's here or there, right? I will say that Braden, a lot of you guys might know him as the Bat Guy, right? That's kind of his brand now that he created for himself. But he won the Encounter Games 1.5K yesterday running this list as well. So he opted to run the Tipos over the Maurice's workshop. And so it worked really well for him. So congratulations to him winning that event. I think it was like a $400 payout for first place. So really cool. It might probably more actually, but yeah, really good job to him. Really good job to Zan and Jeremy as well for, creating this list. But let's move on. We kind of talked about this a lot, so we'll move on to fourth place where we had another red blue. So all of top 4 was red blue or blue steel, and unfortunately it was blue steel versus blue steel and red blue versus red blue, and then finals we had blue steel versus red blue. But looking at this list, it's a little bit different than the other one. If you guys notice Jonathan's list, he completely cut the Maui Half Sharks, whereas Mark opted to still run 2 and still run 2 Pirates Life. I think that is interesting. So when I look at this list, it's kind of doing two things. And we have the control options of all these Sizus and the coils, and then we still have the Maui Half Sharks and Pirates Life. And I just don't know if that is the way. Like, I think you can kind of just, I think you can try and force two different directions and then see how it feels into the local meta, or combine the two and then see how it feels. So maybe this was the route, is you combine the two, see how it feels. Does it work? Yes, no. If it doesn't, then you can go one crazy. And when I talk about combine the two, I'm talking Sizu on ice and DKP's red blue burn, right? And so this is combining the two. This is trying to do two things at once. And I think when you try and multitask, you are like, my thoughts on multitasking is you're doing two things badly at the same time. Like, and that's kind of what how I feel about, like, I think we can go one of two directions and then just tech the new cards into those two directions. With that being said, I haven't paid much attention to what Sizu on Ice is doing this set. I kind of like to pretend it doesn't exist in my own little fantasy land. And maybe this is what they're trying to do right now, is trying to combine the two. Because even last set, we saw the Maui Half Sharks fit into the Ice Block Sizu on Ice list. So looking at this list, though, it is very much like a Sizu on Ice list. It's very reminiscent of what we saw last set. We see the one hideaway. I know for a while there was one Pirate's Life, and then you go higher on the Half Sharks, and that might be a route to go. The Vitalospheres help you answer manners and things like that. Like, answer anything, right? It turns your Grandma Tala can answer Daisy Ducks, your Tipos can answer bells and Calhouns and Smees and all of that. So opting, of course, to run the shiny the new baby crab, because the new baby crab is just so good. So yeah, just a lot of, it's Sizu on Ice opting to run some of the new options. And I'm very curious to see how Red Blue develops as time goes on. Do we still see the culmination of this Sizu on Ice combining the Maui Half Shark and the Pirate's Life? Or do we just see the Red Blue Burn style of DKPs? Is there ever a world where we cut Maui Half Shark or cut Pirate's Life and opt to just run Half Shark with things like How Far I'll Go and Visions and Hideaways and things like that? I don't think we ever cut Half Shark, but we could. We could cut Half Sharks, just throw in Maui's. We did see a list yesterday running Maui's, so just going really heavy control. Because when you run coils, you have that option to go that route. Because even like you're high on inkables at that point though. So I don't know. Thoughts? I'm not a red blue player. I'll leave that up to Sailor. I'll leave that up to DKP. I'll leave that up to Jonathan, Mark, all you other red blue players to figure out. My buddy Vince, you guys will figure it out. I have no doubt, and be a menace to, well, all society. But moving on, we do have fifth place. We have not red blue or blue steel. We have Kylie taking fifth with a green steel. And this was really fun to watch on stream. So this was on stream as well. It was really cool. We really saw a lot of work get put in by Pete. That shift 4, while this character's exerted, opposing characters can't exert to sing songs, and your pirate characters gain resist +1. And he's a 5/5/2. So the fact that it's opposing characters can't sing songs is really, really cool. Like, that makes this card so much better. But also, when he challenges something, he has resist +1. When he's exerted, he has resist +1. When you get him out, Smee no longer takes damage because he's a pirate. So Smee gets resist +1 because Pete is exerted. So just a lot of really good opportunities, and a lot of the time you keep Pete anyways, a lot against a lot of different decks. So now you have this easy shift. You can Bruno something on your turn 4 if you shift it. Just really neat. I was really happy to see this list. Like, as much as I hate to see Green Steel do well, I love seeing Green Steel. Like, I love the new direction of Green Steel that is fighting for board, is doing all these things. So it was just really cool to see. It was really fun to watch. I'll be interested to see how Green Steel develops as time goes on. I don't know if you need Benja. Personally, Benja's a lot weaker this set because, like, the problem with Binja is you banish their item, but then they just play Tamatoa to bring it back, right? So, I mean, there are things you could hit. Like, you could hit the Lucky Dime if they Oswald it, things like that. But if you Binja a Lucky Dime later, excuse me, if you Binja a Lucky Dime later, they don't really care. They just bring it back anyways. We saw that happen in Freddy's match. I think it was Freddy's match yesterday, or a match yesterday where, yeah, it was Freddy's, where he used Benja on a Lucky Dime, and they just brought back Lucky Dime be with Tamatoa. So now they have 8 different ways to bring back Lucky Dimes. So I think Benja's quite a bit weaker. I think you can go another route. I think Beast is I'll be interested to see if Beast stays, like, especially if they run back to Medusas. But even with Sapphire Coil, like, it just makes Beast so much more worse. And Blue Steel running so many items or so many songs now makes Beast a lot worse. So I'll be interested to see what Beast turns into. And if we lose Beast, we probably lose Morph. And at that point, that's 8 slots that Green Steel players can kind of try different things and go other directions. So it'll be interesting. I'm really excited to see how this develops. I always unfortunately like seeing Green Steel develop. Like, I know. Shame on me. But congratulations, Kylie, taking 5th place. I hope you get some luck with those boxes. Moving on, we have Jake, the only purple steel player to make it. And this deck is just playing a lot of burn. Like, you look at this list and it's just a lot of burn. You know, we have the 4 docks. So you're just trying to dock chain and get burn. And we did see him dock chain quite a bit. It was unfortunate that his round 2 was against a Steel Song player, and Purple Steel is still just not great into Steel Song, in my opinion. And we did see him lose to Freddy yesterday. But we've seen my buddy Najee ran a Purple Steel list. It was a little bit different than this. He opted to run the 5-cost Elsas, but we saw him beat Red Blue because of Giant Cobra gaining 2, Goat gaining a whole bunch, White Rose gaining a whole bunch. So it's just one of those things where the deck is really positive. Now, as we see Blue Steel continue to rise, I think there's options. Do we bring back Olaf? Like, as much as that sucks, you could bring back any of those 1/3 characters is an option, replacing either Chernobogs or Broom. I think, yeah, replacing either one of those, keeping Diablo, because Diablo is just, it's not, you lose your bounce target, but you at least you would draw a card, that kind of thing. So that's an option. But yeah, I'd prefer a 4th Fox, just because if I'm running this much burn, I want the opportunity to bounce it. Like, so opting to probably just cut the libraries. Like, I'd probably just cut the libraries and go 4th Crab, 4th Fox. I really like Crab. Crab just does so much for you when there is a wide, like a character heavy field. And then Fox, just bouncing your burn characters and being able to trade is just so powerful. So really good job, Jake, taking Purple Steel. I'm interested to see how Purple Steel continues to develop. I still think it's going to be really good this set. I don't think there's a lot you change with Purple Steel though. Like the core of this is pretty much this. Like the core of Purple Steel, what we'll see is pretty much this right here. So I'm just excited to see what it does in the meta because I think it's still primed to do really well. You got the Peats, you have the reach with the burn. Maybe you can fit in Gantus, the 4-cost Gantu that makes items cost more, can't sing songs, that kind of thing. So maybe that's an option that you can run. It slows things down so you can go Pete into Gantu. So maybe that's something we'll see, and you cut something for that. Maybe a friends and 2 libraries to run 3 Gantus, or even just 2 Gantus and you cut the 2 libraries, that kind of thing. So I don't know. I look forward to seeing what Purple Steel does this set as the meta continues to develop. Moving on, we have 7th and we have Paul, and holy crap. like like look at this. So he Paul, congratulations, man. This is awesome because this green yellow list is nothing like what I would have expected. And like you have a Merryweather in here. When you play this character, you may pay 1 to give chosen character +2 this turn. I don't know why you ran that. I really don't. I think I'm trying to see maybe synergy and I don't really see it, but I love it. Like you can make your Little John a tart, like deal 2 damage to something now. It could just be because you wanted another 1 drop and you thought Merryweather was, the best of the 1 drops. So because with the 1 drops, that's more targets for Lady, that's more ways to cheat out Tramp. So I love it. When I saw this list, it was nothing what I expected, and I was so happy for that because we have all these 1 drops, so you're able to cheat out Tramp. And the advantage of cheating out Tramp is that you play Tramp, you draw all these characters, right? Because you have a bunch of characters, so you draw a bunch of cards, which are characters. You discard them all, maybe a bunch of Lilos or whatever. It doesn't matter because then you're playing Chernobygs for free or next to nothing. And also, you have a 2/6/2 on the field. So I think it's really cool. And I'd imagine you got the combo off quite a bit with all of these cards here. Opting to run the Lady and Tramp combo. I've talked about this before, but it could just be one of those things where you just needed 1 drops and you saw an opportunity there. But I like the Yzma, just the Dale, like I love it. I love it. I love it. Dale helps you cheat out Chernobogs. Like I love everything about it. And I'm really glad to see that you made Top Cut. I didn't check to see who you lost to, so I'd be curious about that. But I'd love to know just how it went throughout the day, how it felt, how many blue steel players you actually ran into. Because that's my worry about green yellow is I think that it completely just runs over red blue with 0 issues. I've had zero issues playing red blue with green yellow hyper aggro. The problem is there's so much steel in the meta. So I would be very curious to hear and see how that matchup went for you. But next up, we do have 8th place, and then I have an honorable mention, and we'll call it the People's Choice Award. But 8th place is Matthew, and he's running more of the tried and true Kiwi version. The Kiwi I'm talking about being the one that Harlan and Jax popularized. We have the Alice on turn 3 into the Hiram or Pluto into the Cogsworth on turn 5, and it worked well for him. He took 8th place with it. One of the things that I'll be interested to see how this deck continues to do is how does it fare into red blue? How does it fare into blue steel? The more singing songs with Zeus and all of that, I think it'll still fare fine. I mean, you still have your own bell. You still are able to fight the board against them. I'd imagine that blue steel versus blue steel is going to be a very prominent game. Not even the items list, but just this more Kiwi version with the Alices versus the other version that doesn't run Alice anymore, or Cogsworth. But if you can get out the Cogsworth, I think you just win that matchup at that point. Your characters just become so beefy that that becomes a really good matchup. So the Simba helps you kind of cycle through cards, but maybe that can be sticky Mickey. Maybe that finds a way back. I'm not sure, but yeah, I the Kiwi version, I'm not a tempo player. That's why you don't see me play a lot of Purple Steel. That's why I never jumped on the Kiwi version. But the Kiwi version, it's just it's tempo. It's tempo at its finest. If you are a tempo player, you need to try this Kiwi version because that's what it does. It plays a card, it passes. It plays another card, it passes. It plays another card, it passes. And then in those turns, it's questing or it's challenging or it's drawing. Like, and the advantage of that Kiwi has now is because like you're just drawing so many cards. So you're just a consistent annoyance where you play your cards, you draw a whole bunch, you play more cards, you draw a whole bunch. So where Steel Song needs Whole New World, this deck just grinds players out by consistently drawing with Docs and with Hiram Flaversham. So really good. We just continue to see it do really well. And then on top of Hiram and Doc, you now have Tamatoa. So if you popped your Popsicles and Fortispheres, you have Tamatoa to get you two more items. So now you have two more items to draw you two more cards. Maybe you draw into a Hiram and it all starts over again. And it's just a really good deck. I think so. You would have played Blue Steel items, which didn't unfortunately go well for you. But yeah, I think you still went 2 or 1-2. So on the draw as well. So really good showing, man. I think we're going to still see a lot of this. And, but yeah, on to our last list. We're going to talk about, we have our honorable mention. I've got to talk about my boy Freddie playing Steel Song. He did really well despite being super, super, super sick. But first, before we even talk about the list in general, my boy, you got to get 60 cards. All right, 60 cards. No, Freddie's running 62, and he just has a habit of running more than 60. But the list, I was really surprised, to be honest. I really thought Freddie would come in just running pretty much exactly what he ran at the Southside Games 10K when he won that more aggro approach with the daisies and the piglets and things like that. But he opted to go this ally route, and it's something that's been talked about, this ally route of going the Miss Bianca, because Gaston isn't reliable anymore in the sense because of Coil, and Gaston is easily banished by Blue Steel now, the Blue Song version, because if they're on the play, they can just sing Strength before you get to cast Whole New World on your Gaston. So Bianca, though, she comes in with all of your allies, Daisy, Penny, Troubadour, um even Lawrence is an ally. So all these allies, and then you're able to play her on turn 4. And then now you have a really good Whole New World option. So the list worked really well for him. He really liked how it performed. I've kind of tweaked things a little bit to my liking for it, but it really showcased the opportunities of Bianca. We kind of talked about some of the changes that we'd have to make is 4 Troubadours and 4 Zeus, I think is a hard requirement for this set. I don't think that's an option if you're going to play Steel Song. I think it is you will do it or you will lose. Like you're like it's just going to happen. Like your matchups that are 50-50 are going to become like 40-60. It just there were so many times where you just need to have your singer live on in going into your turn 3, and or a character live going into your turn 3 that can do something. And so now you're just stuck with these songs with a Penny down, right? And Penny easily banished by a Blue Song. But Penny overexcelled. Penny doing so much, keep letting your Smee not take damage. Smee can challenge Calhoun or challenge Bell and live and not take damage. Like Penny overexcelled talking to him. Miss Bianca overexcelled talking to him. So just it was a great first showing for Steel Song, and to show people that Steel Song is far from dead. We're just in the Freddie opted to go a little bit of experimentation, and it did go well for him. It was just one of those things that he did lose to the Blue Steel items deck, and he got high rolled really hard. Oswald went hard on him. Jeremy took it with Oswald, and he didn't see a lot of his early aggro. So yeah, just options. And but we'll talk more in depth about Steel Song here and how things are developing here in another video. But the Disney trivia. How many Disney movies did Robin Williams play in? The answer is 2. Mr. Williams, Robin Williams, him and Disney didn't see eye to eye for a while after Aladdin 1. So he said, I'm not doing it then. I don't care how much money you offer me. And they did offer him a very large lump sum, said, hey, please come back and do for Return of Jafar. Please, we want you to voice it. Here's a big pot of money." And Robin Williams said, "No, like I don't need your money. Like I'm fine. I don't agree with what you guys are doing, so I'm not going to be in Aladdin." And he did come back for King of Thieves. They worked things out, but yeah. So Mr. Williams was only in 2 Disney movies, all right? He was not in Return of Jafar. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, again, huge shout out to Southside Gaming. Huge shout out to the South Florida Lorcana Network for putting on these amazing events. I can't understate this, overstate this, whatever, however the phrase works. I can't say it enough. Follow them. All their stuff's going to be in the description. Okay. Follow them on their social media pages. Follow them on Twitch. Follow them wherever you can, because that marketing there is how they're going to be able to continue to do these amazing events. They're doing so much to help put Lorcana on the map, to give us these amazing competitive tournaments, and it's a big deal. So let's support them in every way that we possibly can. All right. It would mean the world to me. It'd mean the world to them. It'd mean the world to the whole Arcana community. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you like this kind of stuff, remember you can always like, comment, subscribe. If you don't want to, whatever, we move on. But remember, above all else, ladies and gentlemen, always happy and healthy. Let's do it. Have a good one.